Hello and welcome to Circulate by CDA with me, Stuart Aldis. During the last few months I've made many videos with the objective of trying to explain digital technology, digital marketing techniques in a plain, simple and easy to understand format. And from the feedback that people have been giving, it's been very well received, so I thank you for watching the videos so far. Today I thought I'd make a slightly different video, a video based from me as a business owner and what I'm going to be doing going forward to change and adapt my business. The last 3 months have been unprecedented. We've had businesses being furloughed, we've had companies having to restructure, and that's going to continue for quite a lot of time. So as a business owner, I've started to think about how do I change, how do I adapt? And during the last 3 months, we've been putting many measures in place about changing our processes, changing our business structure, changing our outlook to be able to survive and become stronger moving forward. I think it's a good idea to look at history to help us make some changes. I've got a few case studies I'd like to share with you. Before I go any further, I'd like to apologise for one thing. This video is going to be slightly longer today because I think it's important that business owners and marketeers and entrepreneurs rethink the way they've done things for the future. So it's going to be slightly longer. So I want to share some case studies with you. I think you might be aware of some of these case studies. I'm going to talk about, first of all, Blockbuster Video. Who remembers Blockbuster Video? I remember going there and getting my videos and at later stages my DVDs to hire when, that was at the boom. Now the reason I'm picking Blockbuster Video is Blockbuster Video, from thousands of stores on the high street, now has only one store left, a flagship store over in the US. Why am I choosing these as a business model? Well, what you won't probably know, that is in the year 2000, a relatively new startup company walked into Blockbuster Video head office and said, guys, we've got an idea about streaming video content on the internet. At the time, year 2000, we just made the first jump to broadband technology, had a 1 megabyte line. And if you remember back then, video was buffering, you used to have to wait for it to download, and it took a long time to watch, and it was a bit unstable. But there was a company that thought broadband technology will get faster and faster, and we can utilize that. They rethought the business model. We now know that brand today as Netflix. In year 2000, Netflix offered the sale of Netflix to Blockbuster Video for $50 million US. Today, Netflix is worth $194 billion. It's interesting that in year 2020, during the COVID outbreak, the Netflix valuation has gone up by $50 billion US. But here's Blockbuster Video. They said famously at the time, nobody would watch television or films via the internet. They didn't foresee what was going on. They'd always done it the way they had. They were going to do it that way in the future. Interesting case study. Who remembers Comet? So I remember going to Comet in younger days to buy white goods and household domestic appliances. What's interesting about Comet is around 2013, they went under. They went bankrupt. They didn't sell online. They said people would not buy fridges, freezers, microwave ovens. They want to come and see them and touch them and feel them. How wrong they were. Because back in 2000, there was a startup company called AO.com. AO.com today is one of the UK's largest supplier of domestic white goods and electronic goods to the UK. They took over a business that was decades and decades old, that knew their business inside out. Why did Comet not rethink the business model? They famously said people won't buy white goods online. We don't see Comet anymore. Now both of the examples I've used so far have been retailers, but we can also combine that to online as well. Who remembers Friends Reunited? If you don't, a quick bio. Friends Reunited was a social media platform. We didn't even know it was social media back then, in around 1999, 98, 2000, that sort of era. And it allowed people that left school without email addresses, without mobile phones, to get back in touch with people they left. Basically, you registered your school, you registered yourself to that school, and you could connect to the platform. You had to pay £5 a year to subscribe to the platform, and millions of people used it. In fact, in year 2000, they had 8 million people using it. And if you think 8 million internet users in the UK back in the year 2000, in today's numbers, that's times 10. It was unbelievable. They created this platform. Was interested that in year 2005, They sold Friends Reunited, so the owner, the founder, was a chap called Steve Pankhurst, sold it to ITV for £125 million. ITV sold it 4 years later for just 25 million, and now it doesn't even exist. This was an online platform. You'd think they'd be cutting edge, thinking about the technology. No, they didn't, because what they didn't realise is once you paid the £5 to use the website, you were never going to pay the recurring £5 because you'd already made contact with your friends. What they didn't think about doing was putting a wall on there and making it like Facebook and having advertising opportunities. They didn't rethink the business model. And this was a purely online company. It was very successful and it doesn't exist anymore. The next case study I've got is the music industry. So if we go back in time, if you remember websites, and you might have done this, and millions of people did, you used to download MP3s from pirate websites like Napster and LimeWire. Lots of people did it. The record industry's response to this was one of outrage. They said, how dare people copy and pirate our music? But think about this. At the time, it cost money to make vinyl records. It cost money to make CDs. The record industry were used to doing that. They'd always done it that way. They were always going to do it that way in the future. It took a tech company called Apple to really revolutionize MP3 downloads and make iTunes, which we all take today as standard, and streaming and downloading music. But the music industry, instead of suing sites like Napster, they could have embraced change. They could have rethought their business model and thought, hold on, we have no manufacturing costs. We'll sell an MP3 for £1 and we'll create a chart and we'll create iTunes. No, it took the innovation of a tech company, Apple Computers, to be able to do that. 4 case studies: Blockbuster Video, Comet, Friends Reunited, and the music industry. For me, they've all got the same approach in common. They've always done it that way. They'll do it that way in the future. And for me, that's not the correct way to do it. We have to be agile. We have to change all the time. For me, it's simple. So learn from the history. And if we can see on the screen here, update your business model. Don't do it the same way you've always done it. Now is an ideal time to update your business model and look for new opportunities. I'll give you a tip here. So many of us used to travel the country, going to see clients, going to see prospects, driving up and down motorways, sitting on trains, flying all around the world, spending a huge amount of time to do that. I've been a great advocate in video conferencing for many, many years, but clients wouldn't want to do that. They'd want to come and see our office. They want us to go and see them. Nowadays, after the COVID-19 outbreak, people are much more friendly and used to video conferencing. So what does that do for you? Well, it means your prospects are now worldwide, not just in your geographical location. You could be doing business by video conference from here to Australia and back. And it's seamless and easy to do. And people, your prospects and customers, are now used to video conferencing. Embrace the change. Innovate and try new ideas. I keep saying this. So many businesses go out of business because they have the mentality, we've always done it this way, we'll do it that way in the future. And that's got to change. We've got to rethink, and this is an ideal time to do that. We made so many changes at CDA to innovate and be different going forward. We spent a huge amount of time looking at all our processes, our procedures, and now we're gearing ourselves up for the next part of our future. Use technology and digital. Don't be afraid of it. I understand for many businesses the word digital is a grey black magic art. Watch my other videos, get advice, read webinars, read blog posts. There's so much help and advice online around how to embrace technology. But technology is the way forward. I was reading a report recently that during the COVID outbreak, e-commerce, for example, has fast forwarded over 15 years of growth in 3 months because we've forced the consumers into new behavioural patterns, and they won't shift back. So if you are in retail, how do you maintain your retail chain and your online? You have to rethink the model, and you have to find new ways and experiences to entice your customers. Embrace change culture. I know how difficult it is from my previous days in big corporates about getting change through your organisation. But changes have to happen. Companies have to be more agile. We have to rethink every procedure, every process, the way we communicate with our customers, our teams, the way we make remote working work for us. Companies can be more efficient with remote working. We've seen an increase here at CDA with remote working in our productivity and our communication levels. At first, many companies found it very daunting with COVID-19. The opportunities that lie ahead of you, and I ask you to embrace those changes. If you've enjoyed watching this video, I thank you for watching it, and until next time, please take care.